Peace be with you. Welcome to another edition of Let the Quran Speak. My name is Sophia. I'm your host. Now, what role does Jesus play in the Islamic tradition? That's what we'll be looking at today. We'll also be taking a look at a verse from the Quran and a hadith. With me today is Brother Shabir Ali from the Islamic Information Center. Brother Shabir, welcome to Let the Quran Speak.
Thanks for having me on.
Now let's begin with the verse. So we're on chapter 49. We're looking at verse 13 from that chapter. Maybe you can give us a brief summary of what the verse says, or a translation.
Okay. Translation is difficult without thinking first about the Arabic. But basically it says, O mankind, we have made you into nations, and we have created you from a man and woman, and made you into nations and tribes, so that you should know one another, not that you should despise one another. And certainly the most honorable among you in the sight of God are those who are most conscious of God. Certainly God is knowing and aware.
So this verse is addressing then all of mankind.
Yes. Yes, the verse just previous to this was addressing believers alone,
yes.
But now the address has turned to humankind in general.
So God says that He's created people into from a single man and a single woman. Is God referring to Adam and Eve?
Yes, it seems that this is what the reference is towards, that all human beings come now from a single couple, and therefore we are all one large human family, and the diversity that is there within the human family in terms of a number of races and languages and geographical regions, this nevertheless should this should not be construed as a real difference, but should we should always remember that we are all from a common origin.
So God says He's created us as nations and tribes, or He's made these nations and tribes out of this single pair.
That's right.
So that we may know one another.
Yes, and in the way it is constructed in the Arabic shows it uses the lam of ta'lil or purpose, which shows that there is a reason why God made you into nations and tribes like this. And the reason is that you may know one another. And as the translator Yusuf Ali puts it, the opposite is also the case, that you should not despise one another, because that would be contrary to the purpose of trying to get to know one another. Ta'arafu in the Arabic language, that you may know each other, shows the kind of mutuality that people should try to get acquainted with one another. And it seems that if God has made everyone the same, then there will be nothing to learn, nothing new, nothing to be interesting. Life would be very dull, in fact. But
so are we actually appreciating the diversity of God's creation then? Is that the purpose?
Yes, this seems to be the purpose, that there's something for you to learn and something for you to get acquainted with.
No, what does the verse say after that then?
It says, the most noble among you in the sight of God are those who are most God conscious. And that reflects on the fact that people want to boast about a wide variety of things. We're better at this or better at that, and people make up things. People just simply think that they're better just by virtue of being what they are,
being in a specific tribe.
Yeah, they say our tribe is better than the others, our country is better than the others, and so on. For whatever reason, people come up with anything to say they're better than others. But the competitiveness of human beings seems to be part of their nature. But God settles the score by saying, look, the most, in the sight of God, the most honorable are the ones who are most conscious of God. And that, of course, is something that we cannot measure, because there's no God consciousness or meter that one can just simply insert into a person and find out, is this person more God conscious than the other person? Because that is something that only God can judge. And in the end, it means that we can only strive to be better, but we can never claim to be better than someone else.
So then we can't claim superiority over anyone else in that circumstance.
Right.
Because only God can judge that. Is there anything else you want to say about this verse?
Well, it is interesting that a verse like this is there in the Quran and it addresses human beings altogether, because it brings into perspective some of the difficulties that people sometimes have. Racial tensions continue to haunt us even to this day, despite all of the growth and development of human civilizations and all of the lessons we have learned from history. People are still sometimes at odds with each other due to racial differences and differences of a wide variety of sorts. But human beings now have to learn to live together as one large human family, especially in our age of global communications and international travel. And this is a teaching of the Quran that Muslims need to highlight by, first of all, practicing it in their own societies, and second, by promulgating this to the rest of the world.
All right, thank you, Brother Shabir. We